All right. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. My name is Neil Harden. I'm chairing today's panel. With me are Gail Anderson and Bill Maretsky. The assessor today is Arif Dost Muhammad, and the administrative personnel is Phoebe Graywood. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment rule in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we'll limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony. Anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the board. The board is appointed annually by council and is independent of it and the city administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We'll then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions the applicant may have, then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You'll receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We will be hearing item 9 on our docket today. Ms. Graywood, please affirm the assessors and the applicant's testimony.
Mr. Doss Mohammed, please state your full name.
Arif Das Mohammed.
Do you affirm the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Newman, please state your full name.
Mark Newman.
Do you affirm the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are hearing 1835 Sargent Avenue. So, Mr. Dost Muhammad, you can begin your presentation.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Board revision file number 24-3105. Roll number 0702258500. Address is 1835 Sargent Avenue. Roll year is 2025. Reference date is April 1st, 2023. Assessed value is $4,402,000. Parcel use code is industrial warehouse. Number of buildings is 2. Number of premises is 2. Number of stories is 1. Actual year built and effective year built ranges from 1956 to 1987. Wall heights range from 16 feet to 22 feet. Zoning is M2 manufacturing general. Land area is 199,876,000 square feet. Plan area is 88,494,000 square feet. Gross floor area is 90,924 square feet, and leasable area is 90,257 square feet. Land to plan area is 2.26 to 1. If you turn to my page number 9, there is the map of the subject. It is located in the northwest quadrant of the city. On the following page is the subject parcel boundaries. On page 11 is the aerial view of the subject property. On page 12, in the middle there is the street views of the subject property. Page 13 has the building section. So there's 2 buildings, one built in 1956 and one built in 1987. The one built in 1956 has a main area of approximately 58,500 square feet with a wall height of 16 feet. The building built in 1987 has an area of 30,000 square feet with a wall height of 22 feet. On page 14 is the income and a mailer, income and expense mailer that was submitted for the year 2022. You'll note that the rental income that they're declaring is $375,694, which works out to approximately $4.16 per square foot. They're indicating a net operating income of $367,421. On the following page is the tenant roll. The tenant roll indicates it's a step-up roll and it's a net rent. So turning back to my page 3 of my brief, there's the rent comparables that I've utilized. So like the subject, all comparables are industrial warehouse properties. They're located in the St. James Industrial Market. All leases are current in relation to the reference date. Effective year of built ranges from 1958 to 1980. Average wall heights range from 18 feet to 27 feet. Leasable areas range from approximately 41,000 square feet to 81,000 square feet. And net rents range from $5.67 per square foot to $9 per square foot. On the following page is our workup. So we're utilizing an overall net rental rate of $3.88 per square foot. We're utilizing a 4.5% market vacancy, 3% for non-recoverable expenses, and $4 per square foot for vacancy shortfall. This works out to an NOI of $308,159. We're utilizing a 7% cap. And this works out to a capitalized value and assessed value of $4,402,000. Now, it is my understanding that there is a permit on this building and there's going to be a new addition built. And presumably this will go online in 2025. And if it does that, this assessment will be just a moot point as a supplemental will be assessed at that time. But in the meantime, so that is our assessment and I am open to questions. Thank you.
Okay, questions, Mr. Newman?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Dost Mohammed.
Good morning, Mr. Newman.
So there were initially 9 properties on this docket, and we were able to resolve 8 of them. And so that leaves us with this one.
Yes.
And you made reference to the permit at the end of your submission. In fact, you and I, through discussion, reached agreement on a settlement value for this property as well, correct?
Yes, we did.
And what then happened is after you and I had that agreement and you had it approved by management, management came back to you and told you not to reach agreement because there was a permit. All correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, and the value we reached agreement on was $3,750,000, correct?
I believe so. I could look it up. Give me 1 second.
Okay, going down here, were these discussions without prejudice or anything like that?
All discussions were without prejudice, Mr. Chairman. I agree, except we reached agreement. And once you reach agreement, the without prejudice falls away. And so what's happened here, and Mr. Dost Mohammed has been quite candid about it, is he and I reached agreement. It was approved by management. And then management decided, no, because there's a permit here for an 18,000 square foot addition, we shouldn't go ahead with this because at some point a supplementary will be necessary. So let's not go ahead with this. That's the background to this matter. And again, Mr. Dost Mohammed and I have discussed this quite extensively. And I'm really getting to the end of the process by discussing your concern about without prejudice with you. Um, and so if you will allow me to just explain why we're here and why I brought this matter forward, I think all will become clear to you.
Okay, okay.
Uh,
I'm not hearing any objection from Mr. Das Muhammad on it, so I guess you can proceed with your line of questioning then.
All right, thank you. So, Mr. Dost Mohammed, again, so 3,750,000 was the agreed upon amount,
Yes,
correct? All
yes.
right. And again, in fairness, and I want to be fair with you, you and I reached agreement. It was approved by management. And then management came back to you and said, no, let's not put that through because there's a supplementary, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, and then you and I discussed the matter further, and I said, um, well, construction has not even started yet. And I can tell everyone, I drove by the property yesterday. Construction has not started. And who knows how long it will take. So at some point, I agree a supplementary will be appropriate. And that will be when the premises are capable of being occupied. But until then, the premises are in their present condition with a lesser square footage. So would it not be proper to put the agreement through and the supplementary will then come when the supplementary comes? Don't you think that would be reasonable?
Uh, yeah, I don't make the rules here, so I'm just following what I've been told.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. I won't belabor it. Um, One other point, I provided to you a roof report from April of 2024, correct? And it reflected total costs approximately $430,000 for roof work to be done within the time frame 24 to 26, correct?
Yes, sorry, you did provide that with me. I just didn't have time to look for over it, just because I thought this was going to be some like our discussions. This was going to be
Settled.
so I didn't even look at the. I apologize.
Understood. Thank you. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Anderson, any questions? You're muted there, Miss Anderson.
I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Moretsky.
I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay, just on your presentation then, you're using the cap of 7, which is, I guess, closer to the 80th percentile than it is to the,
Yeah, it's a little higher than our average of 6.33.
okay. And that's because of the age and condition?
Yes, and the size of the building. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So Mr. Newman, you can begin your presentation then.
Thank you. So let me start with your last question of the assessor, because this is, and you've heard the assessor point out the sections of the building. There's approximately 58,000 square feet that was built in 1956 that has got a 16-foot wall height, and appreciate that a 16-foot wall height on a warehouse leaves you with give or take a 13, 14-foot clearance below the girders. Um, not great in terms of a warehouse. Similarly, even the newer portion built in 1987 at 22 feet is going to leave you with 18, 19 feet, certainly not modern. The discussion that we've had about this property is it's older, it's not efficient from a use perspective, and all of that plus the roof led us to propose a value and agree upon a value at $3,750,000. What I really want to speak about is the position, and as Mr. Mohammed says, in fairness, or Dost Mohammed, in fairness, he doesn't make the rules. He's been told to present a certain position. I appreciate that. So here's the issue. Yes, a building permit has been issued. No, construction has not started. As I said to the panel earlier, I drove by there yesterday. There happened on the site yet in terms of actual construction beginning. Who knows how long exactly this construction process will take. Regrettably, ever since COVID, things seem to take longer. There seem to be disruptions in supply chains sometime. Maybe it'll be finished in a year. Maybe it'll be finished in 10 months. Maybe it'll be finished in 15 months. Whenever it's finished and whenever it's capable of being occupied, then the premises will be subject to a supplementary. The difficulty is that until then, and if this assessment were simply confirmed, where the owner is left in the position where it's paying a higher level of taxes, approximately $650,000 of value higher in terms of taxes than should be paid based on the agreement as to value that was reached. And I'm confused by the position of management. I don't understand why they would say a supplementary is going to come, never mind this appeal. We have today a 96,000 square foot building in a certain condition, in a certain state, where the assessor and I, with the approval of management, have agreed the value should be $3,750,000. Why would we not put that through when there's agreement? Why would we wait till a supplementary issues? And then, of course, how do I appeal what's there now until the addition is capable of being occupied? Am I going to be put in the position of appealing this to the municipal board and carrying an appeal forward to the municipal board? That it doesn't seem fair to me. It doesn't seem right that because a supplementary will come at some point when construction is complete, that the agreed upon value should not be put through at this point in time. And that's really the reason I'm here this morning. As I told you at the outset, this is the remaining property on this docket. Mr. Das Mohammed and I were able to resolve everything else. Indeed, we resolved this one as well until management directed that no certificate be completed on this one. So I just think the board should put through the $3,750,000. The supplementary will catch up when the addition is done, and that should be the end of it. And that's really my submission to you.
Okay, Mr. Newman, can you tell us then how you got to 3,750,000?
Yes. So there was a back and forth negotiation between Mr. Das Mohammed and I. I raised a variety of concerns about the property. I suggested that we look at its age and the fact that 65% of the building was built in 1956, the fact that 65% of the building has a 16-foot wall height, which means clear ceiling of approximately 13 feet. And for the balance, the additional 30,000 square feet approximately, that'll have an approximately 19-foot clear span. This is an older building, lots of posts. From an efficiency perspective for a large warehouse building, it is less than optimal. There was the roof report dated April of this year, which indicated $430,000 of work needed to be done. I suggested the capitalization rate needed to increase. We went back and forth. He gave me an initial number. I made a suggestion as to an alternate number, the $3,750,000. He went away and came back and said management had approved. And then, as I tell you, then the issue of the addition and a future supplementary arose, and he was directed not to complete the agreement.
Okay, I think you misinterpreted my question. I meant what were the numbers that would get us to 3,750,000?
Well, I'm sorry. Candidly, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Dos Mohammed and I didn't really approach it that way, but I appreciate the question. And so, what I would do, and there's a couple of different ways to do this. Because we kind of came at it in an indirect way. So just give me a moment. So he's got a net operating income of $308,000. At a 7.75 cap, that would get us to 3,970,000 odd dollars. In my mind, what we were doing is we were reducing the net operating income because of the cost of the roof. Different ways you can do that. It can be a deduction from value. It can be an amortization. If you take $430,000 and you amortize it over 20 years, that's $21,000 a year. And if you take $21,000 and you cap it at 7%, that turns into $300,000 of value. So, as I say, there's different ways in which it could be reflected. And one way would be simply to reflect a reduced net operating income in the range of, let's say, $270,000. And at 7%, that comes to 3,857,000. It's not exact, Mr. Harden, and candidly and honestly, that's not exactly how Mr. Dost Mohammed and I came at it. We sort of came to a number recognizing the issues.
Okay. Just on that, if we take the existing NOI and cap it at 8.2, we get 3,758,000, which is close.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'll leave that to the panel. I suspect Mr. Dost Mohammed would not want to see an 8.2% cap rate recorded. And that's not really for me to speak to them, but I'm being honest again and candid in our discussions here. But I'll leave that to the panel in its discretion.
All right. Okay, Mr. Das Mohammed, any questions?
Yeah, maybe I'll just make a statement. I think the way we approached it, maybe Mr. Newman will probably not agree with it, is the way we approached that it was to reduce just the net rent per square foot. We thought the cap rate of 7% was fair, and we just reduced the net rental rate to $3.33. I don't have any questions though. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Bill, any questions? Or Mr. Moretsky, sorry.
I don't think so. No. So your original cap rate you wanted of 7.75%. You don't necessarily want that held then, Mr. Newman?
Well, and again, to be honest with the panel, this whole issue of the certificate and management directing Mr. Dost Mohammed not to go forward arose on the final day for brief submissions. And so he had suggested to me we simply have it confirmed. I thought about that and ultimately decided, no, that's not the route I wanted to go for the reasons I've articulated to the panel. That led me to scramble and put a brief in. And again, to be honest and candid, I don't think it's my best effort, but I needed to get it in. And truthfully, it got in at 4:28 p.m. On the final day. Because I had to decide whether I wanted to take the matter forward. So again, I think, and Mr. Dost Mohammed has indicated that his approach to this was to reduce the rental rate and stick with his cap rate. I'm fine any way it's done, but that's my answer to your question, Mr. Moretsky.
Okay, so you're okay with the $333 per square foot rent then?
I am.
And cap rate of 7%. Okay, no further questions.
All right, Ms. Anderson, any questions?
My question was asked and answered. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Yep. And if Yeah, I was going to say once a supplemental is issued, then the current assessment would be moot unless, you went ahead with this appeal to the municipal board or something like that. So just, yeah. Okay. Um, I've got no further questions that I already haven't used my discretion to ask as chairman. So, again, is there any summation that either party wishes?
I'm good. Thank you very much.
And I'm good as well. Thank you to the panel and happy birthday, Mr. Hart.
Thank you very much. Um, okay, so we have now heard all the items on the agenda, and so this hearing is now adjourned. And thank you, gentlemen, once again.
Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good
Okay.
rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you.